I applied for a pardon with Barack Obama. I was ignored. He gave Manning a commutation. Right. Yeah, Manning's still a convicted felon. You know, and I'll tell you another story that answers that question. I have very, very strong support in the Greek American community for a pardon. And I mean, like the Archbishop, the Bishop of Pittsburgh, these two Greek American billionaires, the former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Alexei Janulius, the Secretary of State of Illinois. Great support. These two billionaires, one of them called me and I went up to New York to meet with the two of them. And they said, look, we know Joe Biden very well and we can get to him directly. Do you want to meet with him? And I said, yes. So I said, listen, I have a letter signed by 70 former CIA officers asking that I be pardoned. I have a letter written by the man who wrote the law that I was convicted of violating, saying I should never have been charged in the first place. I have a floor statement from John McCain saying I should be pardoned, from my liberal Democratic congressman saying I should be pardoned. But maybe most importantly, right, I have an op-ed from the Christian Science Monitor from Senator Joe Biden saying that the law that I was convicted of violating was unconstitutional and should never have been passed. So we go to Wilmington to meet with Biden. This is like 4 or 5 days before Trump became president. So we go to Biden, I make my pitch, and the two Greeks and I got on the train. We came to Washington. I went home. They went to the White House for a dinner that they were invited to. I waited up late into the night. Finally, at midnight, they called me and they said, you would have been so proud of Joe Biden tonight. He went to the mat for you. But halfway through his pitch, Obama put up his hands and said, guys, I'm just not going to do this. It's either him or it's Manning. And Manning got 30 years. And I said, why are we mutually exclusive?
Right.
What does it cost Barack Obama to do the right thing? But he didn't do it. And then honestly, by the time Biden was able to do it, he was so demented that, I mean, I don't have any idea who made that decision. Right. I don't think it was Biden.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, at least you know that a lot of people support you and, you know, believe in you and support your work and tune into you.
Great pride in that. Thank you.
And
you know what? If I could interrupt you for 1 second, I would do the whole doggone thing over again.
Really?
I would. I mean, my wife and I split up. I lost my pension. I lost my security clearance. I lost my job. And I don't care because it was the right thing to do. And torture's outlawed in this country now. And I'm proud to have played a role in that. You know, you come to some issues where you know that you're right and they're wrong. Yeah. And eventually everybody else is going to see that. So I don't care. You know, and this is one of the things when you apply for a pardon, when you make a formal application, we could talk about the process whenever you want. You have to show proof that you showed contrition. And I'm not contrite.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, are you sorry for the crime you committed? And I said, no, I'm not. No, I would do it again.
Did you ever have regrets? Were you ever like, God, why did I do the principal thing? It would have been so much easier not to.
Oh, yeah.
When moments of it, yeah.
Yeah, when the Justice Department offered me 45 years in prison and told me that was the best deal I was going to get, I intended to commit suicide that night. And my wife and I were up watching TV and she said, let's go to bed. And I said, no, I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to just watch TV. I wasn't going to watch TV. I was going to go down to the garage and just, you know, put a pipe in my mouth. And I think she sensed it. And she said, no, we should go to bed. And she kind of talked me out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, there were times when I thought, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? And then, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, somebody had to do it. We're led by a cabal of criminals and somebody had to say something. Yeah. So there it is. The pardon process, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
The pardon process is supposed to be very simple and very direct. You go to www.justice.gov/pardon and you fill out apply for clemency. And it's supposed to be that easy. But what they do is They take your application and they send it to the FBI to do a background investigation on you. And they want to know, are you sorry for what you did? Have you said so in public? Have you committed another crime? Are you an asshole to people? You know, all kinds of different things. And then they send that whole package to your prosecutors. And they say to the prosecutors, John here wants a pardon. What do you guys think about that? Well, this is what they think. This is what they think about just about everybody. Then they send it to your sentencing judge. And they ask the judge, who's 99% of the time a former prosecutor. And they say, you want to give this guy a pardon? And the judge usually says, no pardon for him. And then it goes to the deputy attorney general. The deputy attorney general says, no pardon for him. Then it goes to the White House chief of staff. And the White House chief of staff makes a recommendation to the president. That is, unless you have money or influence. These pardons that Donald Trump has been giving, nobody applied for those pardons. He just gave them. You remember this Green Beret war criminal that was pardoned at the very, very end of Trump's first term? He didn't apply for a pardon. Fox News talked about his case every single night for a month and a half, and then he got a pardon. Another one was this crooked judge, the Kids for Cash judge.
Right.
He hadn't applied for a pardon. And even the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, said, whoa, wait a minute. Where'd this pardon come from?
Literally a guy who ruins the lives of children for money, a judge. Right.
He literally sold children into bondage. Yes.
So disgusting.
So if you've got, you
don't get a pardon or commutation, I think is what he got, right? That guy. Did he get a pardon or a commutation? Maybe.
Yeah, but if you've got money, or you have daily access to Fox News and you can get in the president's face every night, or you have, a very important and very well-placed friend who can just walk into the Oval Office and say, hey, do me a solid and pardon this guy. Otherwise, your chances are nil. And I point out in this piece that I wrote that the number of pardons that have been given by the last, 4 or 5 presidents are dwarfed by the number of pardons that used to be given. I mean, even Richard Nixon pardoned 22% of the people who applied. Well, now we're down to more like 2%. 2%. Yeah, what happened to forgiveness? When I got home from prison, I went to the courthouse in Arlington, Virginia to register to vote. And they said, did you get an approval from the governor? And I said, I didn't realize that I had to get an approval from the governor. They said, only in Virginia and Florida, you have to get the approval of the governor. I'm like, okay. So I go onto the governor's website. It was Terry McAuliffe at the time. And I said, I'm a convicted felon. I was convicted of violating the Intelligence Identities Protection Act of 1981. And I would like the right to vote. I paid my debt to society, right? Like 2 weeks later, my doorbell rings at 7:00 in the morning, and it's a courier, and he's got this big envelope, like this big, but it's like a hard, stiff cardboard envelope. And I pull it out, and it's this gubernatorial declaration with a big seal, the big gold seal on it, and it's signed by the governor, and it's a pardon. It's a gubernatorial pardon. It was a really sweet thing to do. I hadn't been convicted of committing a state crime, but what it did was it was symbolic and it allowed me to register to vote.
That's nice.
So I went to register to vote again when I got the big certificate, and there's a box. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? And I said, yes. Have you been pardoned by the governor? So I checked yes. And they said that the guy who handles your kind of cases, and the woman winks at me, he's on vacation today. And I said, but today's the last day to register so that I can vote in the election. She said, don't worry about it. You can vote in the election. On the following Monday, this guy from the courthouse comes to my house and gives me my voter registration card. And he said, we know what you did. I wanted to make this as easy as possible. So people have been awesome. It's these presidents who have been dicks. And Mitch McConnell, I'd like to smack in his turtle face too, but that's just me.
That would be his final moments. I think he's like, yeah,
I think so. He's pretty well dead as it is, because Mitch McConnell said that if Trump pardoned, and this was the original idea, Trump was going to pardon Julian Assange, Ed Snowden, and me. And McConnell didn't know me, but he said if Trump pardoned Assange and Snowden, that he couldn't control the Republican caucus in the Senate, and that they would probably vote to convict him on the impeachment charges. So he dropped our pardons. You know, when I was working on the Hill, we used to make fun of him because he lives in this townhouse that's literally 4 doors down from the Hart Senate office building. So he lives like literally 150 feet from his office, and he used to take a limo every morning, the 150 feet, and we would boo him as he drove by. Like, what a loser.
Well, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk and also on USAID? Because one of the reasons that I think you're such a great guest is because and someone to talk to is you don't have like a particular political formula, right? So you're critical of Elon Musk. You're also critical of USAID. Tell us about the connection between USAID and the CIA.
Yeah. Ted Kennedy once called USAID the CIA's beachhead at the State Department.